Quick tip video number 3, fix streaking easy. Okay, so we have a little bit of bonus footage because we always like to put in a little bit of bonus footage. And the reason why we do that is just in case we see something that happened throughout the video or something like that, because we don't like to conventionally do things in a controlled environment all the time. I mean, generally when you're purchasing these products and you're finishing your car off, you're doing it outside, or you're doing it, so that's why we film it outside, because there's wind or sun or rain or whatever. We can do it in any kind of environment. Of course, we would never recommend doing it in the rain or in the blasting sun, because of course and this is why we tell you that, because if you do it in sun, what's going to happen is going to dry up quicker than you can apply it, and then you could have issues with like a gummy finish or maybe streaking or something like that. But that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about streaking with regards to applying dye. Now, if you look at this seat here, the seat looks pretty good, and we have had in the past where customers have said, I've applied your dye and then I apply the sealer and it looks like it's streaking. And there's only one way that you can do that is if you apply things linearly like this, wiping, you're wiping it down, and then you apply the sealer and you're wiping it and then this way, if it's always linear, applying it linearly, right, you could get streaking. So we found that right here. If you look at, see this, I don't know if we can pick it up. Can we try to pick it up? I think we can pick it up here. See right here? It's streaking, because when we got in here last time, we were sort of going like this and we were applying it sort of in a linear fashion. And, it looks good. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. But if you really scrutinize and look at the finish, you can see like a linear streak. But over here, there is no linear streak, okay? Because we applied it differently. When you get streaking, it's all about application. Like if you look at the rest of the seat, I don't really see anything. This looks pretty good, I mean, it depends on how perfect you want to be. But we found an instance right here where you can actually see right here, you can see some streaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to, of course, fix or correct that streaking. So what we're going to do is, last time we were using some green tape. Today we're going to use some blue tape, and I do believe this is a little bit newer and it has a little bit more of an adhesive. And it's not, of course, not as windy today. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to mask up the white stitching, because again, if your car doesn't have white stitching, you can just go right over the white or the stitching with the dye. But in this case, there is white stitching. So if you want to keep it white, you're going to have to make sure to freehand it, which is what we showed you in the video, or you're going to have to put some tape on that. So we're going to do that now. Okay, so that's what we did right there. We applied the tape. It has a lot to do with the temperature. I would recommend applying tape, 70, 75, 68 degrees somewhere. If it's lower than that, sometimes the tape can't stick. And I think that's what happened before when we were applying the tape. Because of the wind and everything like that, it was probably a little bit too cool for the tape. And when that happens, it doesn't stick as well. So don't seem to be having that problem with this tape, okay? So what we're going to do is we're basically going to remove all the streaking here. Now, it's not unacceptable, but when you can see the difference between this one, of course, looks much nicer. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to get our bottle of leather dye. We're going to open it up. We're going to apply it to the sponge, just like that. We don't want a whole whack of dye. See how I have the dye like this, where it's not dripping or anything? And basically what you want to do is just sort of dab it on, just like this. So we're dabbing it on, just like that. Okay, that's it. Just like that. And if you have too much dye on there, let's say you had too much dye on there, you just flip your sponge and you can just basically dab it down. So now what you're doing is you're removing dye to a certain amount. Okay, So we'll do this in real time. Let's get the heat gun. Oh boy, one hand working here. And you'll notice that as it dries, it's drying to a nice matte sort of finish. The way it's supposed to be. Okay. That should be good enough. Okay, so as you can see, there's no streaking there anymore. And if you did see streaking, you would just basically put on another coat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply our sealer, and I'll just get a fresh sponge. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we're back again. We got a fresh sponge. We're going to get our sealer. Make sure you shake it up. We're going to put a couple squirts on the sponge evenly. Can you see it's on there? So rather than wiping it, what we're just going to do is we're just going to dab it on. Just like this. Okay. Now to me, that's a lot of sealer, so I'm going to flip the sponge over, and I'm just going to remove some of the sealer. But it's very easy to work with. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dry this up, of course. And the sealer dries a little bit quicker. Just like that. Okay. And as you can see, we'll remove the tape. Just like that. We have a beautiful non-streaky finish. So, you know, a lot of times we try to duplicate things for our customers so you can see how to fix it. We did check this out the next day, and we did notice, hey, you know what? It's a little bit streaky there. What if some customer has that problem? How are we going to show them to do it? So this is where it was. This part right here was a little bit streaky, and this part wasn't, because we actually fixed it up. Okay, to show you the difference, the sort of the before and after. And now what we did is we did that whole seam, and it looks fantastic. So we just needed possibly a little bit better tape. This is a little bit more sticky. So that was a tip for you. And of course, the seat still looks beautiful. So again, this is our automotive leather dye repair kit. This was a medium kit. But you know, it all depends on the condition of your seats. If your seats are killed, you're going to need 3 or 4 coats. So to do 2 seats, we would probably recommend, of course, a 4-ounce bottle. But if you're just doing a 1-seater, if you're doing a refresh, which is what this is called, it's called refreshing your leather. So this way, you know, your leather is basically like new, but you're starting to get a little bit of fade in it. A few years of fade. You're starting to get a little bit of wear. You're getting a little bit of scratches here and there. You don't need to totally restore and refinish your leather. All you need to do is refresh it. So what you do is you clean it just like we showed you on the videos. You apply the dye, you wipe on a few coats of dye on here in the bolster area. You don't need a filler. You only need a filler if it's about the damages, you know, about as, you know, as deep as the thickness of your fingernail, okay? Or if you have deep rips, cracks, or tears. That's the only time you need a filler. With this, you know, it's still holding up very well. It's going to hold up very well. Again, depending on the amount of coats you put on there will dictate how long it's going to last. But this was a little tip. Hope this helped. See you next time. Oh, and one more thing. Streaking will not happen on lighter colored leathers. They're only going to happen on black or very dark colored leathers. Okay, that's just a little tip too, just in case, oh boy, streaking. Don't worry about streaking. If you do get a little bit of streaking, you know what to do. You need to dab it and you need to pat it on. But with regards to lighter color, like if this was white or cream or tan, you're never gonna see anything like that. It's only the dark, very, very dark colors are a little bit temperamental when it comes to application of dye via sponge or what have you. So again, hope this helped. We'll see you next time. If you have enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, or even share with your friends.